Yes, so we will talk about some of that. Should be 78 through 83.
What's the stimulant down?
Say what?
What's the stimulant down?
Simulant means imitation. It's like, you know, I'm sure you've like heard of a flight simulator or something. Obviously, you're not flying an actual plane. It's a simulated airplane. It's about as real too.
This is like plastic.
It is? The simulator?
It's a simulator, almost as real compared to real flying as a simulated diamond is to real.
Those flight simulators are really fun. Like the ones that turn upside down.
Yeah, those I enjoy. Those are not.
I know.
They're still not close to the real thing.
Well, it would be kind of interesting to fly upside down in a real plane.
I've never flown upside down. I have.
That big shaker red thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's really fun.
That one's at the awesome.
Yeah.
I have, however, flown in zero gravity. I have,
What?
I've gotten zero gravity in a small plane, which is not something you want to do long term. The guy had his airplane checked out, so he was good. Basically, he was training to be a crop duster.
What's that?
The guy who spray plane.
Those
Oh, yeah,
guys have
yeah,
a creepy
yeah.
job, but
Yeah.
they do it for a while. Like,
Yeah.
there's like the one guy that is all.
They have a lifespan of about 7 years once they start. Expected lifespan of about
Is
7
it?
years.
Seriously?
It's
Hey,
Well, the
that-
guy around here is really old.
no, it's just
He's gonna like it.
there's a lot of ways
He's
to do
really
it.
good.
Really exciting ways to that.
Why is it so easy to kill yourself?
Well, because
Well,
like
you're
power
flying
lines
so
and
low.
trees, there's so much to hit.
Like, they like go under power lines.
So-
They'll go under power lines. There's all
Under
sorts of-
power lines. Okay, if I'm never one of us, not doing that. That's for sure.
I want to go ride with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to
Yeah, I
ride.
did.
It's grilling.
That would be so
Very
much fun.
good.
I mean, he'd probably be sitting there really calm, and I'd be like,
He's like, that's a tree!
The guy that I was riding with was in Georgia, I think. He had a little Piper Cherokee, which is a low wing, 4-seater airplane, and so I never was a small guy, and airplanes are always built for small people, it seems. So the pilot was pretty small. He was about maybe 5'7" and about 150 pounds, possibly, probably 40. And but then I got in this airplane along with one of my other friends who was about 6'3" and huskier than I was. We made him sit in the back because we told him that's where he would be in the room. We lied. But on the plus side, his microphone back there didn't work. For some reason, the jack headset didn't work. So he didn't talk to us. He could hear us, but we couldn't hear him, which was nice because he said he screamed most of the time. Didn't want that. But yeah, so the guy took off. We took off from the grass strip and just cruised around, being nice. I think he said we pulled 3 Gs, which feels like a lot more than it sounds like. Like they say, fighter pilots take 9 or 10, like 9 G turn. It's just like you can't even wrap your head around.
like, how tight is that? Just like super tight. Like,
Well, basically, yeah, like you have to. You
bank.
pulling into, so you bank and pull into your turn. It all depends on how fast you're flying, but basically, it makes you feel like you're way about 3 times as much as you do.
yeah. It's like pressure.
Right, it's pressure, and basically your head folds into your chest and you sit there.
What would that do?
Anyway, and then he got done with that and went and buzzed the runway. He went down on the runway, not on it. His wheels up yet. They're about 10 feet above the runway. And he landed. He did touchdown. Then popped back up about 10 feet, pulled his wheels in, and then just flew down the runway. It's kind of sideways, crashed into the runway. And there's firewall the thing. Got to the end, straightened out, popped up, went up like 300 feet and leveled out. And at the top, like things were floating off the dash.
Really? That's like zero gravity. What's that level?
Wait, what were you floating?
If you would have gotten out of your
No,
seat,
I
you
was
could have
not
just like been on the roof.
He didn't want me floating around the cockpit.
Nah.
Something about banging the controls. Details, I don't know.
Oh my word, this is all like fun.
It was enjoyable.
The dude in the back,
Say what?
Cutting the guy in the back. Mr.
Oh,
I'm not very hopeful
He
about
was
it.
it was tight enough.
What the Isaiah was back there? Right there.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't have melted any, sure.
Just would have been floating around through.
Yeah.
It sounds like fun. And then you go to a dive and it's like, boom!
All right. Word. Oh, let's just go ahead and check the. Yep.
help on two.
On number 2, whenever a metal is bonded with another metal, it is, we refer to that as an alloy. Correct. Alloy, yes. So we have 2 metals that get mixed together. That's what we're talking about. Metal bonded with another metal.
I think I might have got body cancer.
All right, let's just go through and check it, and I'll see how bad I did. Number 1, on the first page, under your name, is true. A metal is oftentimes bonded with a mineral.
That's not what I figured.
Yep.
I agree.
Number 2 is alloy. Cross out metallurgy and put alloy. Number 3, if you crossed out iron ore and put aluminum, that's good. If you crossed out bauxite and put hematite, that's also good.
I was hematite.
Hematite.
So, Mr. Kent, I crossed out, so number 3, I put false in the blank and put aluminum above iron and crossed out iron.
That'll work. 4 is true. The most abundant metal in the Earth's crust is aluminum. That's metal specifically. Number 5, iron is usually found like this is in the household, and that's true in the form of steel. Number 6, 2 copper alloys are brass and bronze. Number 7 is true. Number 8 is lead. Number 9, bullion. Number 10, I didn't actually put it in the italicized words, but it's false. It had many uses other than jewelry.
I
Silver-
crossed out platinum and put gold.
Oh, that's false.
Wait, but Mr. Kent,
Yes?
it says lead is used in car batteries.
Mhm.
I have platinum. Isn't that
It's
also?
lead. No, platinum isn't really used in car batteries.
It's-
It's used in exhaust systems.
So it's like
It's different.
whatever.
All right. So mineral. You should have something similar to substances that are found naturally in the earth and have crystalline structure.
I
found
just
naturally
have
have
substitutions that are found naturally.
The two parts of this I want. You can just write it in the one part if you don't have it. Is that they're found naturally in the earth and they have a crystalline structure. So it has 2 parts. Just write it in. They have the crystalline structure. Specific gravity is C, how a mineral's density compares to that of water. And the mineral that keeps shining after light has been shined on it and removed is said to be phosphorescent. So phosphorescence is once the light is removed, it keeps shining. Fluorescence is when it shines, the light is shining.
I don't know which number you're in.
That was number 3. I'm sorry.
I almost did.
Number 4, the largest group of, I'm still working on my system. I'm trying to make it better. The largest group of minerals is silicates. Minerals with carbon bonded to oxygen. It's very important. Carbon bonded to oxygen are carbonates. And minerals with oxygen bonded to metal are oxides.
I got one wrong.
I got one wrong.
They are worth 2.5 points apiece.
Should that be a 95?
98. Right?
98.
Yeah, so round up for half. So
You
if you
want
have 2
these
wrong,
things?
if you have 2 wrong, it's going to be 95.
You
I would
want-
want the grades, but for right now, hold on to them. And I will,
Well, and then I'll do them until we're done, until we
until we're done with this, well, I might hold them here a while, there. All right. Yeah, I should have you put them in a folder, I suppose. That'll be the right systems. Didn't give you a folder yet. All right. Anybody, can anybody tell me what metallurgy is?
The study of metal.
Yeah.
Extraction of metals from the earth.
Extracting metals from the earth. All right. So why is there a science behind it? What are the 3 steps of metallurgy?
Finding the metal?
Taking like extraction.
Right. So when we find a metal in the earth, first thing we have to do, right, is we have to dig a hole, right? We dig a hole to find a metal. Or whatever, pan for gold or whatever. So we pull it out of the situation where it's in. We have to extract it from the earth. The second problem is what?
Refining it.
Right. So metals generally are found in something called an ore. Right? So you find an ore, and it is, say it's hematite, for example. So there's going to be iron in it, but you have to separate the iron from whatever else is there. And that's the second step of metallurgy, and the third step is shaping it into its object. So whether it's jewelry or a gold brick or a pipe, an aluminum pipe maybe. You never know. All right. So now we're going to start talking about gemstones. There's basically 2 classes of gemstones to start with. Part of the give you the worksheet.
Where are we working on?
We're going to start here on page 78. Alright, so there's basically 2 classes of gemstones, and you can fill these out as we work through this. That might be a better system than what we were using.
2 classes of gemstones.
2 classes. The 2 classes are precious and semi-precious gemstones, right? So a diamond, which is G. Oh, oops, my bad, I didn't mean to. Those are both precious. They're both precious stones, as is a diamond. So the thing about precious stones is they tend to be hard, and they have something that they call, what do they call it? I guess it's not on my work here. But precious stones, first of all, one of the things that makes them precious is that they're hard to find, right? If they were just laying around like gravel, nobody would give 2 figs about them, and we'd just let them lay around like gravel.
What
But
if they
because
were all as sparkly as diamonds?
we probably still let them all lay around like gravel. You ever hear about this has very little to do with their science, but you ever hear about the rich man who went to heaven and wanted to take all his gold along with him? He walked up to the gate of heaven or whatever, and he had this bag of gold. Obviously, this is a fiction story. St. Peter's like, "What are you trying to bring in here?" Showed him his bag of gold. St. Peter's like, "Oh, asphalt."
Yeah.
Right?
Serious?
Well, yeah,
You know.
you use that. That's why stones are precious, right? Is because they're rare, and also because they're useful. If you just had a driveway full of rubies and diamonds and sapphires,
Nobody give a rip about them.
if they were cut, it seems like people would give a rip about them, even if
Possibly.
they weren't.
Well, here's the deal. So we care about some of this stuff, kind of, right? Like these geodes, they're cool. When we have them, we look at them and go, "Oh, nice."
And then in heaven,
Well,
they're like,
but
oh,
this has a
that's
value of
That's $0.
approximately not very much, however much
But
you're
Mr.
paying
K,
for them.
it says like,
Because there's no place, like you can't take these to a pawn shop and get a few $1,000s for them so you can go around and pick down payment on a truck, whatever it is you have to do. But you can't do that because these have so little value because they're so common. That's part of it. And also because they're not super useful.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Well, like in the Bible, it said that in King Solomon's day,
Mm-hmm.
the gold and silver were as common as stones or something.
I imagine that was hyperbole.
But just say it wasn't. I mean, they still just cared about it.
Well, okay.
Just seems like whatever.
I'm still right. Too bad. Also, on the inside of these things, there's the things that form these crystals are silicates, in case you're wondering. The inside of the gemstones. So, this is probably classified. All right, onward and upward. Topaz is in the semi-precious area over here, and it is, well, it's semi-precious because it's I guess it's just topaz. I mean, it's not like diamond.
Does it have a cool name?
Topaz.
Topaz.
That's
Then there's
not-
also peridot, which is another semi-precious. And these are, basically the thing is they're not super hard, they're not super useful, pretty much all they are is just pretty. Things like ruby or diamond, for example, though they're pretty and also they are useful.
But there's like some like jade,
Things like- yeah,
People really like doing stuff with
I
jade.
know, but it is still semi-precious because there's too much of it to be precious. All right, we were talking about all these sapphires. Is that precious or semi-precious? Actually, I'll tell you, it's precious. It's in a group. There's these things called corundums.
Are you talking about sapphire?
Yes. There are two different corundums, and these are basically the same thing with just a few different moments. All right. So one of the corundums is sapphire, and the other one is ruby. All right. You've heard of chromium, correct? You know what chromium is. We've heard of chrome-coated tailpipes.
Yeah. I'm sure I have somewhere.
Chrome-coated steel. Chrome, well, there's more chrome out there than you can take a stick at. There's also a little bit of
Chromium. That did not ring a bell, but chrome, yeah.
Yeah, chrome is essentially short for chromium. It's an alloy of steel, but it's what makes like shiny steel, shiny bumpers on my bug, somewhat shiny bumpers on my bug, and so on and so forth. Chromium, when it is in the gemstone of a corundum, you put chromium in it, and you get a ruby.
You put what into what into the
Chromium. If a corundum, these two are in the class of corundums. If you have a corundum with chromium in it, you get a ruby.
Okay.
If you have a corundum that has instead iron and titanium in it, you get a blue corundum, and you call that a sapphire. But they're both corundums. It's just to have different other elements in them to change in their colors.
But there's other corundums or whatever.
Yes, there are. There are even colorless corundums which are worth very little
Why?
because they're boring.
Put it bluntly.
Are they like diamonds or do they just have rocks?
Well, they're a stone, I guess. It's just a mineral corundum. It's like a rock. It's a hard rock. There's a red, so a red corundum is a ruby, and it has the chromium in it, and also the fact they classify it. It's more expensive than a good, well-colored ruby. I looked it up, and prices are astronomical. But a good, large, well-colored ruby is substantially more expensive than a diamond. And they rate the color by layer of stuff, which I could care less about to a certain extent. But like the best, darkest red color of a ruby, they call it pigeon blood red, and it's gorgeous. I mean, you have a picture of it. Just look at it. Anyway,
Like, how expensive were they?
oh, they were 3 to 4 times as expensive as a diamond.
that size.
Yeah. So, a $5,000 diamond, all of a sudden you're talking 20,000. All right, so there's another thing that's not a corundum, but there's beryl, of all things. They call it beryl, and just there's ordinary clear beryl, right? And then you can add some things to it, like if you have chromium oxide in your beryl, you get a deep green, and we call it an emerald. All right, so we have a class of beryl, we put chromium oxide in it, we get green, call it an emerald. And, oh, they don't work on the paper, different class. Just saying. And then traces of iron oxide rather than chromium oxide gives a blue-green color. So that'll give you a gemstone called aquamarine.
How do you get opal? This is
That's an interesting question.
It's completely off. We're not quite completely off.
We're not
topic.
quite to the opals yet. So opals are, anyway, we're going to talk about our second-rate ones and how diamonds are formed. So diamonds are formed in, well, you find them anyway, in a chunk, in like these vertical shafts or cracks that often are filled in. But like it'll be specifically like a vertical hole in the ground. You'll find it, it'll have diamonds in the edges and stuff. And it's called a diamond pipe, which is kind of interesting. I always imagined like just sending it down the old diamond pipe and just diamonds everywhere. Let me draw a diamond real quick. Nope, that's the T. That's a T there. I'm just imagining you just lowering myself down this diamond pipe and just diamonds glittering all over the place. Truth of the matter is, that's obviously silly, but it would be pretty cool. So the problem with that is that diamonds in their natural state are obviously dull and boring, little bits of glass. The thing that gives them away is the fact that they are hard.
Glass is hard except when you go
Not as hard as a diamond. Actually, compared to a diamond, it's very, very mushy. It's mushy. Anyway, so that was just an interesting little thing. I'll let you find the 4 C's of a diamond by yourselves. But the one thing about diamonds is they have a Mohs hardness, which remember that's the hardness, with a fingernail is 2.5 on the Mohs hardness scale. The diamond has a Mohs hardness of 10, which is as hard as you can get. My diamond, which I already told you, I gave it to you, I think. The diamond that I bought is, so like they class diamonds. So like this is not the highest class hardest diamond. It's going to have a Mohs hardness of right around 9.5, which you can look back. I think, let me find the page.
It will still crack pretty much everything.
So what?
Still pretty much will crack everything.
Yes. It'll still scratch topaz, which is pretty hard.
You need to buy some topaz so you can scratch it.
Yeah. Get
What is
topaz.
topaz? Okay, I have some really cool quartz pieces. Like,
Yeah.
but what like topaz? What does topaz really look like?
Topaz.
How
should
expensive
be-
is topaz?
I don't know. Let's look it up. It is a semi-precious.
Mr. Kennedy.
All right, we got to talk about opals and then how diamonds are formed synthetically. First of all, second of all, or whatever. Really quickly, so opals are found mostly in Australia. That's where the diamond mine. That's where the opal mines happen. There's a bunch of old miners that just hang out there, and it honestly reminds me a lot of the gold rush days, where just dig holes and mine for opals. But it's very hit and miss. Like they know opals are in the area, but to actually find an opal that is worth anything is very rare. So when they find one, they hit big, like, you know, 10, 15, $20,000 a piece or more. Sometimes they'll find a big old handful of them, but they don't. They're awfully hit and miss. So these guys will, you know, they'll starve for 9 months and find one and pay off all their debts and go mine for opals again, and starve for a year and find more opals. And it's very, some guys do well at it, but it's mostly a game of chance. There's no specific science, even less than there is for mining for gold, because they're so well scattered through the whole situation.
They had a
Anyway.
rock and gem show in Madras, and this one guy, I don't know how they make it, it's called opalite. It's like basically, and he just basically had this brick of just opal, like, it's called opalite, it's like something like
Is
opal.
it like roller opal?
What?
Is it like where it's like fastened to rock and stuff? You have rock and you have streaks, opal through it?
No, it's just,
Because that's what it's called.
just like this, just a brick of just clear, whatever, you call it opalite, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I can't say. I'm interested in it, but I don't know that much about it. I've chosen to direct my studies elsewhere. All right, lab created gemstones. All right, so here's the deal. The diamond I'm getting, which I was hoping would be a little offended. Last I looked, I tried to track it down in California. Who knows how long it'll take to get out of California? Probably some people stole it. Hippies. All right, so we have a simulant, and we have a synthetic,
Best
and we
one
have a
that-
natural.
best one I've ever created is definitely the natural. They're really good.
All right, so here's the deal. Simulant gemstones are worth nothing. All right, those are the ones you put in the bottoms of fish tanks, and they tend to be glass or plastic. You're not going to be cutting anything with a simulant gemstone. They're simply for their looks. Obviously, they're the cheapest. You can buy a whole handful of them for 50 cents.
Really?
I'm sure, go on eBay.
That's one way to trick your siblings.
The other kind is a synthetic. These are the ones that are man-made here. So synthetic it has all the qualities of a real gemstone. So this is the type that I'm getting. I'll show you eventually. So it still is going to have the hardness of diamond. It'll still scratch the thing that diamond's supposed to scratch generally. It is going to be a carbon gemstone. And it's created one of three ways. So it's just the actual stone, but cheaper. All right? Then the only reason that natural gemstones are expensive, just for diamonds especially, is that 90% of natural diamonds are owned by this one company called the Beers Company. They own 90% of all the world's diamonds.
Is that where you got yours?
No. Of all the world's natural diamonds, right? And what they do is they hold on to them and they only let go of a few of them at a time, and that keeps the price up. So all of the natural diamonds are owned by these guys, and they're making everybody pay for it. Generally speaking. It's a South African-based company or whatever, because that's where most diamonds come from. These kind you can make in a lab. You can get them from China probably. And this is where that works. Sir. Oh, you're killing flies. All right. So there's three different methods, I think, here they are. For making gemstones. Basically, the first attempts at making gemstones, they just buried diamonds and gems in the ground and hoped it would grow. Didn't work. That's not the.
Did they try that?
Successful. Yes.
Who tried it?
Okay, that's really stupid.
What an idiot.
No, I didn't try this. This has been tried by mankind. Oh, diamond seeds. I'm just making grow.
They thought it would branch off like a bulb.
There are, yeah, exactly. There are many more successful methods of creating gemstones. They are the flame fusion process, the cold method, and hydrothermal. And it goes into a little bit of depth here. The flame fusion process, basically, it gives a diagram of each one of those. You have it right in your book, right here on page 82. The flame fusion process, basically, they have powdered chemicals that they know need to form your diamond. You have a seed crystal you put underneath, and just set it and rotate it and burn stuff onto it, and it can still sit there and grow. And it'll still be ugly when you're done, but then you can cut it and it'll have the same qualities as a gemstone. And there's a pulled method where basically you just keep dipping your crystal into a bag of chemicals that just keeps growing, and then you just pull it out. That's the second, the pulled one. And then the hardest or most complicated process used primarily for emeralds and other things that tend to be non-gemstone. It is called hydrothermal synthesis. Hydrothermal synthesis. Say that 5 times fast. Basically, there's a high pressure vessel with your seed crystal up on top, and they just keep the stuff rotating and it'll just keep growing your crystal. Unlike planting it around.
How is yours made? Do you know?
I would guess it's probably one of those two, flame fusion or pulled, but I did not ask.
Did you call them in order?
You know, it's not a scam.
It's probably a scam.
If it doesn't scratch glass, we're just going to send it right back.
Well, you said that we can't scratch any of this glass.
We can't.
You can scratch.
Do you have glass?
I can find some glass. They make it all over the place. All right, send it right, go back. Sorry, that was so long.
Mr. King, did you say what the rarest and most valuable diamond?
Say what?
The rarest and most valuable ruby is a color of red known as what?
It's in the reading.
Where? In my reading. I look.
In the reading. Talking about the reading. Find it.
Talking about what?
Let's see, make sure it knows.
All right. What do I never have water when I need it? I do get it. That. I like all right. Let's check this and go over any
Let's
questions
get
I have on what we have today. So, page 12, 111. .21 is B. 2 is C. 22 is C. 23 is A. 24 is B. 25 is C. 26 D. 27 A. 28 E. 29 C. 30 B. Questions, comments, confusion, conflicts?
On today's lesson, I need help on 1, 5, 20, and that's it.
One
I can
time.
help on more than that.
Okay, so let's start. Who
Well, I don't know
The
about.
colonists called the Albany Congress. Where does it talk about the Albany Congress?
It doesn't talk about it.
I'm sure it
That's
does.
the thing.
Yeah. So it's all kind of, right.
I think the English Albany form.
Page 6. Called the Albany Congress to complain. Aha, the English Albany Plan. The colonies did not accept the Albany Plan of Union, refusing to give up any of their own powers to one central authority.
The English also turned down the plan because it preferred to deal with the colonies individually rather than as a group.
Who
Wonder
made
what
the
that was.
plan?
Okay.
Oh, they did.
Benjamin Franklin.
So, for unity and
And then number
for
4.
union.
Number 4, from the beginning, the Navigation Acts were strictly enforced. Where are the Navigation Acts? Why weren't they strictly enforced?
Because they're loosely enforced.
Yeah, without conservation of the colonies because they were.
Yeah, goodness. What were the Navigation Acts?
Something about the boats all have. Oh no.
That was like where they had to, all the ships changes between England and America had to be English built.
English-built ships.
And some, like tobacco, sugar, and the oil, and the
Right. Number 5, the shortage of money in the colony forced the colonists to use a system of barter.
Probably, but I couldn't.
Why was there a shortage of money in the colonies? What was about that?
I don't, yeah, I don't know.
Number 5.
I have 2 of them. And 3.
I found it.
I know what the answer is, I just,
You know
find
that
it.
is true?
Well, if you just, you'll find it.
control. And then, the shortage of actual currency led many foreigners to
I think it's
adopt
incredible
a system of
how they actually don't ask some of these questions before we get here.
They sure do that. Like,
Anyway,
And 20. I remember reading it, but I can't.
the man who said, if
find
this
it.
be true, didn't make the most sense.
Yeah. It's actually a really dumb saying, but.
Well, I don't know, depends on how you look at it.
It's on page
Oh, it's not even as
Page
cool.
9?
Give me over here, give me that, this
No, it
is
isn't.
blank.
right there.
With your thumb, is that what it's
Well, in there,
Oh. Oh, there it is. I think you're just kind of.
Oh.
which,
stand back.
It's by the rebellion of both the British and the American, lack of disrespect.
Lack of disrespect?
The revolution was not caused so much by the acts of the British government as by the blank of both British and American. Countries.
why the both the French, well, that's a pretty.
28.
Why don't they have the answers to these questions in Word? Seriously?
That would be way too easy.
So can we finish doing it together?
No.
Okay, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll read them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 2, 4, 6, not even 12. Or something.
I had like 18 more out of 33. I'm not even half done. And where do you find number 31 if you buy it?
I did it for me. 2 minutes.
Where does it talk about their arrest resulted in the rise of Paul Revere and Fort William Dallas?
I was just, alright, again.
You know, the reason we know about Paul Revere is, this is interesting, the reason we know about Paul Revere is simply because of that poem. Otherwise, like, he would kind of have faded into oblivion.
Samuel Adams and John Hancock.
Hancock.
They weren't actually, they never got,
They never were arrested.
yeah, but it claimed that they did.
Oh, they've just been ordered to be arrested. At the top of page 12.
Yeah.
So Samuel Adams and John Hancock had been arrested by the British, an event which caused the famous rise of Paul Revere and William Dallas.
What's his face, Malcolm Gladwell claims that it's because Paul Revere was more of an outgoing Christian, because
Cause William Dow's or whatever, we don't hear anything about him because he actually doesn't really say anybody. All I do is the one that actually
What was school?
I didn't find it. And
I'm sure looking for the. Quieter, you can.
I was for the war. But I can actually find the
I
town.
saw one of the different.
New Chancellor Rex check.
Because you have to supposed to pay the salaries and officials who are working on salaries of officials.
Oh, well, it's good.
Can you say how many? All three of us?
I guess.
Much space in it. Then it would kill me.
Oh, I see what they want for 28.
What?
They just want attitude.
Just have additives. Have an attitude problem. So most of the people.
Like me?
Oh yeah, you could help. But
No idea.
sometimes people are proud of their issues, so.
I'm not proud of it.
you know, it's come back here.
Can I have that book?
No, it's fine.
I really like it for like
Not the
number
sharing type.
Not
6
the
through
sharing.
15. Like number 21, it says they included B, blank, and blank. Troops removed in the Northwestern place.
21?
Yeah. I got the first
To go look up the dollar flags.
one. Right
I
there.
like how they spelled Boston.
I know. And look how they spelled on number 18, the Greenville.
Grenville.
Awesome.
Isn't it supposed to be Grenville?
No, it's Greenville.
I don't know, yeah.
Grenville. Grenville. Like, it doesn't say it.
And Corey's in the
No ships allowed to enter or leave the harbor.
I think it's really interesting how nobody backed off. Like, this is how wars start in general. This is actually how all conflicts, like, when they come to a head. So, like the English are trying to get the colonials under control, and so they pass the Navigation Acts, and so the colonies just start smuggling, and as a result, the English pass the Stamp Act, and then they start having fires and riots, and then they try to get more, try a little harder to teach these silly colonists who's boss, and they ramp it up with the Townsend program, and then Virginia resolves.
That just gives us
so
the
and so forth.
answers right there.
It's right here on page 11.
I know. So the Boston Tea Party was the last one. Yeah, it was.
Which one?
I have the Boston Tea Party second.
It probably is. The tolerable acts was the last one we learned about.
Wait, I have 3, 4, 1, 2, 5.
3, 4.
I have 5.
So what's the first one?
French and English.
On 11 to 15?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stamp back was the next
Yes.
one, right?
And the stamp back is next, yeah, so the first one.
Yeah. So the Boston Tea Party's the third one.
No, it's the 4th. Committees of correspondence.
Committees of correspondence was third, yes.
And then the intolerable act is the last one. Where, like, why do they always have only one extra one on like right here?
Just so that you can't just, you know,
But it confuses me
Yeah.
so much.
What?
George
it's just
Washington.
so that you have to actually know what you're doing.
Where?
Or 6 or 10.
I feel
Fort
like
necessity.
No, it's important
So
necessity.
on number 29,
Yes.
because there's kind of a few different ones.
Yeah, they have 4,
They were busy with affairs of the empire.
which
And
were,
29.
I know, but I'm saying, the affairs of the empire can be actually separated into 2 parts.
Well, I have noticed a struggle between the king
That's one.
when they wanted to keep the colonies loyal to it.
That's not really one of them, no.
They didn't have enough ship.
That's not one either.
It's part of the
Well, kind of, not really.
Like those ones can
It
be.
says that strict enforcement would have required many more ships than England had available.
Why did they not have ships available?
Well, for one thing,
That's the reason, I mean, that's the question. The reason that England did not have ships available
The
is
fourth
because
consideration was
They
the
were
great
in a series
distance
of
between
wars.
they were
England
in
and
war
the
with
colonies.
France. So that's one of the reasons is they were in war with France, is they didn't actually have the manpower. So that's one of the reasons.
What?
England was at war
I'm
with France.
so lost right now. Wars.
There was, England was in a war with France, is one of the problems, one of the reasons.
so they
Another
were
one is,
busy.
there was a struggle going on between the King of England and Parliament. Who were trying to decide who was going to have the most power.
Was at war with France? England was at war with
And
France.
on top of it,
So that's 2 of the 4.
well, the right,
So
And
they
then
were
it
busy
says,
with the affairs of the empire, not one.
Not really.
it says one reason for the,
officials too were not so eager to create the laws since during this time growing trade and commerce between England and the colonies provided more profits to British merchants.
Right.
So they wanted to keep the
So
colonies.
the growing trade gave more profits to the British. It wasn't really the loyalty they were worried about. They couldn't care less about the loyalty. They were worried about the trade.
What it says here.
just like
England
Ronald
hoped to keep the colonies loyal to the French in the New World.
Okay, fine. But the main reason they wanted to keep them loyal was for the trade.
To keep loyal.
They were making money. No, that's not it. Because of the growing trade.
Yeah, I have just growing trade.
The growing trade with the colonies gave more profits to the British. That's what I was
Okay,
saying.
then the fourth consideration was the great distance between England and the colonies.
Yes, it was.
It was so far between England and the colonies.
Yes.
What was that one?
So can I write like the molasses that and all those? for the-
Yeah, it's the molasses and sugar at 2 different X.
Yes.
Okay, so number 5. So when does this have to be done by?
And it just means-
I guess probably Thursday.
What?
I think, so for tomorrow, we're gonna do biology, and Thursday will be, basically, we're just skipping Wednesday together, essentially what's going on.
So I have 4 and then there's another one.
For which one? There's the navigation X. Hat, wool, molasses, and sugar.
Yeah.
Hat and wool are 2 different ones.
I know.
Navigation.
Yeah, that's one of them because it's right here.
There's like,
It
there's like
says,
8.
because the war article proposed that only could be sold to England because of the Navigation Acts. Tobacco, sugar, maybe
The last.
They tried to decide what steps should be taken to overcome the problems with the British government.
What did the First Continental Congress hope to achieve?
You tell me.
I have no idea.
What was the content of Congress?
A bunch of worried people.
A movement
Which word?
spread among the colonists.
Adams,
From
they
which
all
side?
had the colonies.
Right, so the word people in the colonies, they were hoping that
Well, I know they're from England.
so what?
Well, I know they're from England until the intolerable acts had been repealed by the British government.
So that they could they could overcome problems with the British.
Right, that was their main goal. There was a few steps to that. One is they wanted to get rid of, so they hoped that the king would resolve the issues. They hoped that the intolerable acts would be repealed. And they hoped that the people would arm themselves. They weren't actually shooting, they weren't aiming for a war at this point. But they wanted people to arm themselves so that the British would take them seriously. So those are the three parts. People would arm themselves, that the intolerable acts would be repealed, and that the king would resolve the differences between the colonies. How was the situation of the colonies changing the French and Indian War ended? How did the French and Indian War? How did the French and Indian War affect the relationship with England?
It gave England more opportunities to concentrate on the colonies. Is that it?
It wasn't really changed, but all of a sudden they got a bunch of new taxes so they could help pay for the war. So it got worse
Okay.
and tighter and more.
But what else? Specifically, how did the colonists feel? Let me see. We'll talk about there you go.
Where? What pages?
They no longer need to look to England for protection.
That's a big deal.
They had to look for England for protection.
Well, they didn't have to. They no
They
longer
grew
had
more
to.
independent.
So they got more independent, and then what? So now that they're more independent from England, which is a big part of this, what happened?
Increased military speed.
That's another part of it, yes. Yeah, basically, they no the deal is you pretty much had everything. They no longer had to depend on England to take care of the national protection thing, and they gained military experience, and then their relationship with England changed. They weren't so dependent on them, so that basically they could kick them out if they wanted to.
Actually, 26.
Yeah, it's recent.
So they don't. No, it's recent.
What's the general take on what we want to play?
Volleyball. Yeah, I agree with that.
What do you guys want to play?
Volleyball?
I'm in.
No, I don't want to play volleyball.
Well, there's one naysayer.
Why
majority is volleyball, I guess.
We have 1, 2, and 3. Oh, I just want to collect her date. Christy's there, and I don't even know if I talked to her.
Oh, well. I forgive you.
Money, money. Money, money.
Me, I don't want to play volleyball. Oh, what do you want? Thanks for letting me play on the computer.
I wasn't mine.
Yeah, it was. It came from your spot. But I think someone moved those over. I just grabbed yours because I didn't think that the other ones would move.
Yeah. I didn't know it was mine either. Well, they're all identical. I immediately regret this decision.
No, right outside. Alright. So if you have work to do, continue it, and if you don't, we have go back class.
Okay. I need
Random
help
things
though.
to make.
So go in there?
Yeah, I can help you. Unless you want Christy to stand and help you.
She can help me.
Okay.
This won't take really long.
Kitchen, kitchen.
Number 79, I can't find it. Okay, George Washington, that's right. Is Stephen for necessity? Christie? I'm on him. Yeah, that's all. Okay. And then 9 is gonna be Sam Adams or 1776. What was that? 9.
What are you drawing here, Jim?
Nothing. I am
Samuel Adams.
running my desk.
And then number 21, Nancy.
All right.
What page is on? That's, Ted, and I found that.
Okay, right here.
It says the Port of Boston was
Hey, what's
closed.
your?
Port of Boston was closed.
And it says the charger in Massachusetts was taken away from the call.
Charter was taken away?
Yeah.
Any more Reese's in that thing? I'm gonna take one.
I'm pretty sure there's like one more brand.
The idea that the power
Huh?
is measured in terms of gold and silver is called
Are there any more Reese's in that thing?
there's one.
Right here.
Oh, you get there.
Right here. There's some
Number 6 on page 4. That
You
one.
get.
Sure.
Where can.
T-shirt.
Do you want one, Tom?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll eat one more and you guys can eat that.
Sure, as long as I get some.
You guys want? I'll just grab it for once, sure.
The first fundamental
He said-
proposition of math, is that the next one? Number 2.
I don't know.
Wait, what are we supposed to share?
Nah, he's kidding.
Okay, well, I would eat them. Right here it is.
I ain't gonna eat.
What did you ask me for?
A math.
No.
Let me see one.
What?
Screw up. Declaration of rights. And
Candy is good.
grievances.
What?
Candy is good.
It is?
Yeah.
What it causes cancer.
Not in people.
Unknown person shared this with you.
Who was this unknown person?
I have no clue. It was
And grievances.